Hey guys, DJ from PTA. Want to go over today, August 16th. No trades for me, and I actually regret it because there was some pretty good moves today that I did not get a chance to take advantage of. I did. I am going to discuss my Twitter, SIGA, and my VERU trade, just to kind of give you a recap on those swings. But other than that, I mean, it was a solid day for those who were playing. One of the big winners was BBBY, Bed Bath and Beyond. That one has been on the radar for a while. We've been looking at it, been playing back and forth with it, played it when it was at some lower prices. So it's one of those stocks that don't really hold its gains. But today, it definitely played outside of its range, which was a little bit different than normal from the other day when we played it. I mean, like I told you guys, the SPY has been going up. I figured we was going to get a rejection off the 200-day EMA, which you can see right here. I discussed that in the previous video, that we were going to get some type of rejection at the 200. It's just inevitable. But, you know, if we get a crack above there, a crack above this line in a retest, then I'll definitely say we're in a strong bullish trend. But overall, you know, the fundamentals just doesn't make sense, but price action rules. So right now, going long, short term on the spot would be the ideal. All right, so first thing I want to go over is the BBBY trade. Actually, I'm going to go over VRDN. So the reason I'm going to go over VRDN is because this is something we had already played. It had a nice second day continuation. It gave a lot back on the first day. So ultimately, you know, I didn't think it was going to go any higher because it gave back so much. But, you know, when you get over 52-week highs and you're holding it, then you typically going to get a continuation for all the people who didn't get a chance to jump in the trend. So let's break this down to the 5. Okay, ultimately, you know, you had this big pullback from the previous day. So it marked the A here. Once you got that big pullback, it was pretty much just waiting. And as we go up to higher time frames, it's really pretty much just waiting until some support had added in. Once it had got some support, it was pretty much a continuation off of this previous high, previous day high. So any type of pullback into that price when it's trying to reach there is something ideal. So if we go down to the 30-minute, you can see the pullback or the beginning of the pullback. So right here is where it got kind of interesting. Now, for me, I'm always going to look at a stock. I'm always trying to find that support. And this one was around 23.76.75. And then we got this sort of a gap move. So let's go down here in the 5. Right there you can see the pattern. So had us a A, pulled back, hit B, it bounced, pulled back, hit this area again, and then went sideways. So let's talk about that volume on the 1 minute so it can look a little bit more clear. So looking at these volume cues on this off this 1 minute is where it gets kind of interesting. So as you can see, we got this downward move. Big spike in volume here, right? Now this is massive compared to the downturn. So I'm looking at this as a critical area because this is kind of like where it shifted right there. Had your volume here on the red side. Output it, but they couldn't get it higher, which probably enticed the shorts. So I looked at this and said, okay, this is a critical area. Why is that? Well, if you draw a line, you can see that this is the area where all the shorts are sitting. So they popped it up off of volume, rejected. So you just had multiple rejections in this price area. Then they fall. Right here, remember, this is a red volume. Right here, they're bringing it down. Then we had a spike right here, which is where shorts were getting in. Had a little bit more volume there, more action there than everywhere else. So yeah, so you have to wait and see right there. So when they tried to pull it down, they went back up. More red volume, higher than this, but at a higher price. So I'm waiting for it to pull back down. They pull back down. But when they pulled it back down, they really just matched the same volume as before. That's the reason why I draw the line, just so that I can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. So that was the volume right there, off that line. So, right there. So, when they try to spike it up, remember, boom, they try to spike it up again on a higher volume, but not that much price movement. So this is where like they started to get exhausted right here on this one. So they brung it down, matched the price twice, tried to spike it to bring it back down, couldn't do it. Spiked it up with more volume, couldn't do it. The volume faded. Spiked it up again, matching 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times in the same area of volume. Couldn't get over it. Low volume. Because see, they haven't did this, but the volume has not shifted to go down. So now, when they did this, and then the red volume is down here, that's a shift. As soon as they shifted right here, took off. So yeah, we had this big jerk up here. Why? Because it's 24.56. A lot of shorts were sitting there. As you can see here, and here. They gather it, and this is what they do. It's like what they call a stage 4 trade, where it goes to the area, rips, and pull itself back down, shake out all the weak longs to only go higher. So people don't understand the trend or don't see the trend will get shook out right here. Because they just drop really quick. Oh crap, I'm out. And then they rally it up. Back up to 25, ripped it, and then kind of went sideways from there. Now this is just because, as I told you guys before, the previous day had so much volume, everybody didn't want to miss this move. They just didn't want to miss it because they had missed the day before. So it was kind of a bit of a chase move at that point. If you were still holding shares, definitely a good ad. But other than that, it was one of those days or one of those trades that you, if you weren't already in it, it would have been hard to play it. The next trade after that, which was BBBY, Bed Bath and Beyond. Again, this is one of those type of trades where it wasn't necessarily not ready, but it definitely a couple of days ago wasn't like today. So massive rip. So this was acting as support, this area here. So I'm gonna just call that 27. And then we had some support here, pre-market. And then you had a bit of a downturn right here. As you can see, this was a critical area as well. We just put that 1720. Now, look at these areas very closely. You see it rejected, pulled down, rejected, pulled down, gapped up over it. You say you had a rejection bounce, and you had a rejection down. So it's a critical area down, and then a flush. So let's break this down into the 5-minute and see exactly where your price action would have came in at. So the initial move, I mean, you could have played it a couple ways, but the initial move after waiting for A to really form, and like I said, you got to wait for a nice pullback. For this one, I think the big pullback came in off of the 15-minute. So I'm trying to wait for that to load up for you. As you can see here, we got this pullback, nice little rally up, pullback on the 15. So we go back down to the 5. This is where things was a little different, and you had to really catch it. Once we get this big pullback off this 5, we had like an immediate push here. Now, some people got in here. You want to see a full pullback. So the proper area would have been here. This is where everyone typically end up joining. So let me show you guys that. Ultimately, once it pulled up and then pulled back significantly, we had us the difference between this pullback was that this was just a miniature gathering, and then right here is the actual pullback because of this second candle here. This is where it really topped out, right here, right in this section. So let's go to the 1 minute so you guys can actually see this full scope. So on the 1 minute is where you start to see it actually form and break down and do the things that it was doing. And this is where, you had to be patient to wait for that trade, because it actually broke support and then regrouped. That's where I believe they got everybody trapped, right around that area. So I'm going to show you the trap, show you how it actually played out. So we had this big A, pull back, it found B here. So the initial area was right here. Right there. So we'll just call that $19. Painted purple, entry day, it bounced. They gathered everyone right here, right below there. So they dropped it about 30 cents. Right there, and then ripped it. Then they pulled it back. So you see how they pulled it right back up to the line, get more people involved, some more shorts, and that's when the game shifted. So remember, we had this big pull, first red candle breaking down. So you had your volume way up here on this. So once it started bouncing, it pulled around. Now this is where it got interesting, because right here is where they trapped everyone. Because this was where the first red candle on the support, volume creeped in on the long side. They came back and took that out, but they regathered it very quickly. So when they regathered it and respected, it came back up right here, matching this volume. They tried to pull it back down, couldn't. So this is where it shifted. So you had two matching volumes in the same area, and they shifted down, right here is where things got interesting. They tried to pull it down on volume, but the green candles was higher. So when you see volume stepping up like that, then you see a pull down, low red volume, that means there's a light pullback, and then they kept stepping it. Once they got it over, now you remember that this was your volume cue here. Once they got it over in this candle, everybody started joining here. Right here, about 2050, 2051 areas where everyone started joining, and then they just got busy and it just started taking off. So one of the key things you can look at this is where was the volume? The volume on this was right here. I'm gonna paint that white. No show. Right here. When they finally got it over, it was right here. That's when everybody started to join that trend. Now it's all the way up here at 2135, and then they started trailing it on. But you can see that right here was the level right there. But that 2060, 2051, when everybody saw that volume shift, it started to step up. The green candle started to step up in volume. That's when everybody got really anxious, really yeah. And we're in a trend, we're in an uptrend based on how the overall stock is moving. Remember, you already made your baseboard or springboard here. So you're just waiting for volume to tell you, let's join the party. And that's where it got interesting. And we had a nice move up. Now, if you notice how it broke out of 27, halted, slammed, and slammed right below it, and then it pretty much just rode that 27 for the rest of the day until it eventually broke down. Now, that 27 was critical because we viewed that off of the higher time frames off the daily. So that's how you correlate the price action, support and resistance in certain areas to better understand exactly where the stock is trying to go and what it's trying to do. So I'm going to go over my Twitter trade. Let's go to the daily. I didn't really see much difference. So I just been kind of monitoring it, looking at what it's going to do. Remember, my orders are way down here. So I'm hoping it, I told you guys it may reject off of the previous week, and it did. So I'm looking forward to continue on and maybe hold. Now, if I get a crack below this 4360 area, then I'll be looking for an exit. SIGA, big crack off of here. Remember, my orders are down here at 22. I got shares down here, but 2270s, 23s is when I'll probably start taking orders off because it's probably going to break down to further. So this I didn't like it closing like this, but it didn't come down here to this 22, so I'm still safe. VERU still holding, still in an uptrend. So we're gonna keep those shares going as well. All right, guys. If you have any questions, concerns, leave it in the comment section. Hit that like button just so that algorithm can pick us up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you are part of the Discord. You guys are missing out on a lot of free information in there. We will be closing that up soon. And like I tell all old traders and new, stay studying and stay focused.